Hello, I'm Shawn Kent Hayashi with Saucon Valley Cute and Cuddly Toy Schnauzers. This video is for you if you are considering getting a new puppy of any breed actually, because in this video I will be talking about my puppy agreement, the components of it, and also my 10-year genetic health guarantee. So regardless of whether you're getting a puppy from me or from someone else, this will give you some things to think about related to the agreement with your breeder. Also, this video will be of interest to you if you are a new dog breeder and you are looking at creating or evaluating your puppy agreements with your buyers. The first 3 pages here are my puppy agreement that I go over with anyone who is getting a puppy from me. This next piece is my 10-year genetic health guarantee. I'll be talking about the details of each of these agreements. So what I just showed you, my puppy agreement and my 10-year health guarantee. I'm going to now review the components of each of these documents that I share with anyone who's buying a puppy from me at the time that they pick a puppy. And I ask them to watch this video prior. But the first thing it starts off with, this agreement is made on, and then we insert the date, and is between the breeder, and I have in parentheses then seller, and the buyer as named below. So breeder, that's me, Shawn Kent Hayashi with Saucon Valley Cute and Cuddly Toy Schnauzers, LLC. And then I put in my address and my phone number. And I also include then the buyer's name, address, phone number, all the kind of stuff that we'd need if we were contacting each other. And then it says seller and buyer are collectively known as parties. The buyer agrees to obtain from the seller a miniature Schnauzer puppy that was born and raised in our home in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And then gender, so male or female, color, date of birth. So this is just setting the stage for what we are agreeing to. And in this particular agreement that I'm reading right now, it says this dog is sold as a pet. In this context, pet refers to the dog sold as a family companion only. This dog will not be bred, and you, as the buyer, agree to spay or neuter your pet at the appropriate age, typically somewhere between 9 and 12 months old. Now, I'm talking outside the agreement for just a moment. I like my girls to have had at least one heat experience, just one, and then you can spay them immediately after that. And boys, you want them to have had their hormones come in before you neuter them so that you're building a strong, healthy, happy dog for its lifetime. All right, I'll go back to the contract now. Payment terms. A deposit of $1,000 is due at the time of the agreement. In other words, when a very specific puppy is chosen by the buyer, they say, yes, I want that little party girl, and we have all the details now about her. That's when the $1,000 deposit is due, and that's the time they get this agreement emailed to them. The adoption fee for an 8-week-old puppy from me at this time is $4,000, and it's due before the puppy turns 8 weeks old. So in other words, the $1,000 and then an additional $3,000 for a total of $4,000 is due before the puppy is 8 weeks old. Each additional week of training, so we provide puppy prep school training for our puppies, and that can go from 8 to 16 weeks of age. So if someone chooses to have us do the training for them, potty pad training, obedience training, all these types of things that we show in other playlists. We have a playlist, how to train your puppy from 8 to 16 weeks old, and we have another one on our puppy prep school experience. So if you're interested in learning more about that, check out those playlists. But for each week of puppy prep school, it is $375, and people can choose how long they want their dog to stay in the puppy prep school. But the full 8 weeks of puppy prep school is $3,000. So then I have a section here about how payment can be made. So obviously payment can be made with cash, a check, but if you're paying with a check, you need to make sure that the check has cleared plenty of time before you expect to pick up the puppy. All right, next is my health guarantee related to the puppy here in this agreement. But then, as I said, I have a 10-year genetic health guarantee, which I'll be sharing with you in a few moments. So here we go. The seller certifies that upon receipt, the dog is in good health according to our vet at Quakertown Vet Hospital. This dog has the following conditions now, and usually the answer there is none, but occasionally there might be something. Maybe we've just noticed a little rash or something that we're treating, and we help you to understand what to do with that. It's usually a very minor thing, if anything at all, but the majority of them, it says none. The puppies were examined by a vet when their tails were docked and their dew claws removed. So our puppies, little schnauzers, have their tails docked and their dew claws removed at about 2 days old. And I know in other parts of the world you do not do that, and in some parts of the world that is actually illegal. You don't need to let me know about that in the comments. That's okay. I understand that. That is what we do here, and I have personally watched my veterinarians do this, and I know that it is not a terrible experience for puppies, and if needed, they use anesthesia or anything like that if we're doing something that would require a puppy to be hurt. We don't want our puppies to be hurt, I promise. The puppies were examined by the vet, and so we know that the puppy was thriving at that time, and we also know, depending on where we are in choosing your puppy, that at that time that we are making this agreement, your puppy is very healthy and thriving. And you will be kept informed of any vet experiences, health experiences related to your puppy regularly. The buyer agrees to have the puppy examined by your veterinarian at your expense, ideally within 3 days from the date you pick the puppy up. All right, let me stop here for a minute. I'm doing it in parentheses that's not in my contract. If you live locally to me and you're planning on using Quakertown Vet Hospital, the puppy was just examined by Quakertown Vet Hospital within a few days before you're picking your puppy up. So just call, confirm, clarify that everything's good. And if your puppy is going somewhere else and you're setting up a new vet relationship, that's a good time to do so. But I'll also add that I'm offering you 30 days of free pet insurance. And I will be asking you that we turn that pet insurance on either right before you pick the puppy up or while you are picking the puppy up. And that free pet insurance will cover you for 30 days from the time you get your new puppy. Now, after that, with Trupanion, you can decide if you want to continue that coverage or not, but I'm providing you with the free 30-day coverage. All right, back into the contract. If your veterinarian does not give the puppy a clean bill of health, the buyer must notify the seller immediately. The seller reserves the right to have the dog re-examined by our veterinarian at our cost. Any condition that is minor or easily correctable, such as maybe some sort of little skin rash or something on the tip of the ear, or who knows, maybe in the grooming process there was a little nick or a little rash that got started. Oftentimes puppies are groomed a day or 2, 3 before, and little razor something could cause a little skin rash, something like that. Again, that's very, very minor, and in those minor circumstances, we just say do what we need to do. But those are not covered specifically by my pet agreement. Those are normal things that happen to dogs at times. So if the dog is found to not be in good health, however, the seller will resume possession if this is agreeable to both buyers. By the way, I've never had to do that. I've never been asked to do that. So just to clarify, that's in my contract because I want to make sure you feel safe, but it's not a part of my experience. I'm willing to do it if needed. The seller does not accept responsibility for contagious diseases, worms, or Giardia diagnosed after you have taken the puppy to your home. So your home, your yard, your environment has a whole different source of things going on in it than mine does. So I'm wanting you to be conscious and I'm wanting you to be very well prepared. I do have videos on my channel about how to prepare your yard, your patio, your home for your new puppy so that you make sure that your new puppy doesn't get a contagious disease or worms or Giardia, something like that from your home environment. Check those out. All right, back to the contract. Heat stroke, exhaustion, dehydration, and other heat-related conditions are not covered in any way at all. In other words, please don't leave your dog in a car, or please don't not provide your dog with water and nutrients early on. I've never had that happen, but here it is in my contract. This puppy must be an indoor dog living in your home as a family member. This dog will not be kept outside alone at any time. Okay, next in this contract, I have some advice that's my advice. This is not a requirement, but I put this in here because I am so often asked these questions, and I want to just go ahead and head off those questions. So this is my advice based on my experience and my latest research. Please don't have your dog get the leptospirosis vaccine. I can discuss that in more detail with you if you want me to. Do a little research on leptospirosis vaccines, what they're for, and why people do and don't give them. Talk it over with your vet. Do not give a puppy flea and tick meds. Do not have your dog spayed or neutered before 9 months of age. Let's make sure all those hormones come into play so your dog is going to thrive. Do not get the rabies vaccine before 6 months old on a very small toy-sized puppy. And do not buy your dog food in a common commercial grocery store. Those levels of dog food are usually not good at all, and do a little research on what are some of the best dog foods. I'm happy to share that with you. I have videos on that topic as well, but choose a really good quality of pet food. So all of these that I just mentioned are risk factors in dogs. Now your vet may advise differently, and so please consider the options and make the best choices for your puppy and your life. I'm sharing with you what I do in my environment, and that might not be right for you in your environment. So please do your research, talk it out with your vet, and ultimately I say defer to your vet, who is the medical doctor, not me, the breeder, who's telling you what my experience is. But I'm not always looking at the latest science, and hopefully the vet that you use is. All right, the next section of my contract is the buyer's responsibility. The buyer agrees to take good care of this dog, to feed and house the dog properly indoors, to maintain required shots, to control the dog on a leash when in public and when off the premises of the dog's home. If the dog goes outside without a leash, the dog's outdoor area will be fenced in and secure, or acceptable provisions will be made to assure that the dog is safe at the time he or she is outdoors. The buyer agrees to give the dog proper physical and emotional care. If the dog is found to be allowed to run freely outdoors, unsupervised, running at large, creating a public nuisance, or found to be neglected, abused, or allowed to live in poor health or poor conditions, the seller, that's me, has the right to repossess the dog with no refund to the buyer. By the way, I've never had to do that. I am really meticulous about choosing who gets to buy my dog. And so the likelihood that I would ever have to do that is very, very unlikely. But my attorney wanted that in here. All right, the death, injury, or loss of this dog due to theft, carelessness, recklessness, abuse, neglect, heat stroke, or accident will not entitle the buyer to any compensation from the seller. All right, again, you can probably tell the words and the sentences that my attorney was adamant about. All right, we'll keep going. This dog is warranted only for the purpose of being a companion, not for any other purpose or reason. No warranty is given to the buyer for any special purpose or function of this dog. This dog is not to be used in any illegal or immoral activities and is not to be used for any type of breeding program. Not a dog farm, not any other mass production or money-making operation. So just to be clear, this is my pet contract, my pet agreement, and I do have another agreement for people who are co-owning a dog with me in my breeding program. So if that's the case and we're doing a co-owner agreement, it would be different from this one, and this paragraph would obviously be somewhat different. All right, this dog is to be spayed or neutered unless Shawn Kent Hayashi, doing business as SVCC Toys, owns the breeding rights, and we have an agreement in place, and we will agree to a certain number of litters. We'll agree to all the different types of services and who's responsible for what in my guardian agreement. Again, different agreement. All right. In the event the buyer is unable to keep this dog for any reason, the buyer agrees to offer the seller, in other words, you agree to let me have the dog back, and I will find the dog a great home. This is so important to me. In the event of a rehome, the buyer will notify the seller of any new name, address, where the dog lives. Buyer agrees not to sell this dog to any retail company or establishment or to any breeder. In other words, you can't give this dog to a breeder or someone else and say, oh, well, I couldn't take care of it, so I just gave it away. No, that's not what my mission here is in what I'm doing. The buyer agrees never to put this dog in a shelter of any kind. So any changes to this contract must be in writing and signed by both parties. This contract is legal and may be enforced by legal means at the buyer's expense, and all disputes must be settled in Pennsylvania. Now, this is, again, very important to me. I'm breeding dogs to be beloved family members. I'm not breeding dogs for dog shelters, and I'm certainly not breeding dogs to have them bounced around a variety of different homes in a short period of time kind of thing. So if for some reason you can't keep a puppy that you have gotten from me, I expect you to return the puppy to me. Now, I have another video that is specifically about what to do if you realize there's a likelihood that you might outlive your dog. So I've gotten questions from people who are, say, in their 70s or maybe even 80s, and they're saying, can I buy a young dog, a well-trained dog? I want a dog that's been through your puppy prep school program. And can we make provisions for what to do with that dog if the dog outlives me? And the answer is yes, and I have another video on that topic. I will include that video at the end of this one in one of these places. You will see that video about what to do and how to prepare for life reality if your dog outlives you. But we'll keep going with this contract. The Saucon Valley Cute and Cuddly Toy Schnauzer training document was given to you with this agreement. You agreed to read the document with your family and to determine together which words and phrases you will use in training your dog so that you all are consistent together so that this new puppy can become a beloved family member. Training this dog is vital for success in your family, and you understand that that is your ongoing responsibility. So regardless of what age you get the puppy from me, you still need to take on the role of the leader, the trainer, the guide, the pack leader for this puppy. And I have all the tools that teach you how to do that. But in this part of the agreement, you're agreeing to do that. All right, next it says, please watch the SVCC Toy Schnauzers YouTube channel. Well, you're here, right? And then next it says, watch this playlist to learn how to train a puppy from 8 weeks to 16 weeks. So yes, that's another playlist. I think I've mentioned it already. But I have several different playlists that are really helpful in helping you set your puppy up and your lifestyle up so that you can be very successful when you get a new puppy, regardless of what breed it is. All right, there will also be a playlist that's created specifically to the mom dog and the puppy that you're getting. So you could check out the Penny and Her Puppies playlist as a sample of this so you can see what I mean. So when a mom dog is having puppies, there will be a new playlist created for that mom dog, and you will be able to follow along. Pretty much every day or every few days, I'll be posting pictures, videos of those puppies so that you can literally watch them from birth until the time that you get your puppy. All right, so back to the contract. Now is the time to really enjoy learning about, preparing for, and setting your puppy up for success together as a family. So, next paragraph, this is the entire agreement between the parties. It is valid and agreed to by all parties. All parties have read and understand the agreement to this contract in full by signing below. This contract is legal and may be enforced by legal means at the buyer's expense. Any legal dispute would be filed, heard, and resolved in District Court 03-2-04 in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So there we have it. That's the puppy agreement. Now I will share my 10-year genetic health guarantee with you. So if I've bred a puppy, if you're buying a puppy from me, this is my health guarantee. And again, if you're not buying a puppy from me, use this as a framework to ask questions of other breeders to make sure that they are doing right by you as the buyer of one of their puppies. All right, our puppies are guaranteed to be in good health and free from visible signs of infection or contagious or communicable diseases when purchased. If your puppy is diagnosed by a qualified veterinarian as having a life-threatening defect of certain congenital genetic origin before it is 10 years old, we will refund 100% of the purchase price, or we will pay for the treatment that's needed up to the purchase price of your puppy at a veterinarian clinic approved by us. We reserve the right to require a second opinion from a veterinarian of our choice at our expense. If the dog is euthanized or in any way disposed of without a second opinion from the seller's veterinarian, the buyer waives all rights to a refund. So I want to make sure we're really clear on that. We are looking for second opinions when the idea of genetic disorders are being discussed. Because we performed the Embark DNA test on all of our breeding parents, we know that we are providing you with a dog that is not at risk of the genetic issues that Embark tests at the time they were doing the test on our breeding dogs. Now, the reason I'm saying that, and I'm outside the contract for just a minute, Embark regularly adds new things that they test to their tests. I can only guarantee the things that were provided at the time of the Embark test that was done. Now, I'm also really reasonable here, so if something is a little iffy or whatever, again, I've never had to do this, but I'm pointing out that I'm willing to do this. All right. According to the Embark DNA test, the known issues in miniature schnauzers are PMDS, which is a duct, an eye duct syndrome. Let's see. I don't know how to say this word, so I'm going to spell it myotonia, myotonia, And then the next word is congentia, congentia. Again, I've never had any of these in my dogs. And the third one is demyelinating, I'm going to spell that for you, demyelinating, polyneuropathy. Never had any of those conditions in any of my schnauzers, and they do not show up as issues in any of the Embark DNA tests that I have on my dogs. My intention is to breed dogs that are wildly healthy and genetically clear of these issues. So this warranty is void in the event of an undetermined or inconclusive diagnosis. Diseases of environmental origin, likely to be caused by suboptimal diet, chemicals, or trauma, could be any type of trauma, are not covered. If your dog dies and you request a refund, you'll need to perform the word is, let's see if I can pronounce it, necropsy. No, I can't. Here we go. I'm just going to spell it. This is where my dyslexia comes in, by the way. necropsy. Yes, I'm going to take a little pause here for a second. I'm very dyslexic. And I actually got to go to Yale University to learn how to read because they were studying dyslexic kids. And I learned how to read words by just looking at the word and knowing it, so I had to memorize it. So when I encounter a new word, I have the hardest time phonetically sounding it out. But anyway, all right, so an autopsy has to be done is what this agreement is saying. And it needs to be done by a suitable veterinarian who knows how to do autopsies. All right. Your purchase price will be refunded if the death was caused by a genetic problem or an illness which your puppy had at the time of purchase. For this reason, it is advisable to have your puppy checked by your own veterinarian as soon as you are able to do so after bringing your puppy home. Outside the contract again for just a moment. But we signed you up for the Trupanion pet insurance, which covers you for 30 days. So again, if there's something minor, I've never had to use that like that about an issue. But again, I think we're doing our best to make sure we've got you set up for success. All right, back into the agreement here. For the long-term health of your puppy, we recommend supplementing the diet with New Vet Plus and Fortiflora. So New Vet Plus is a vitamin. It really helps build strong immune systems. And Fortiflora is a probiotic. You can find both of these on my website, SVCCToys.com. So SVCCToys.com. And then I have a store, favorite things show up there. And the New Vet Plus and the Fortiflora and all the other foods I feed, the toys I have you play with, all that stuff are on that page. It'll save you tons of time trying to figure out what are the best products. All right, let's see. We ask that you ensure that you're providing your dog with minimal exposure to food additives. We want you to neuter or spay your dog at between 9 and 12 months of age. We also recommend minimizing exposure to veterinary drugs that are not necessary to the minimum dosage and frequency needed to safeguard your pet's health. We do not use flea and heartworm treatment here on our dogs, and we do not do the leptospirosis vaccine ourselves. Again, stepping out of the contract for a minute, you research those. You figure out, you'll see very quickly why we don't use those on our dog and in our environment. If for some reason something's going on in your environment and it's different and you're doing something with your veterinarian, fine. But please know those are questionable to me. So it's up to you and your vet if you decide to use those. Your puppy also has a lifetime rehoming guarantee with us. So if you have an inability to care for your puppy in the future, you agree that you will contact us and we will take the puppy back if you're no longer able to care for him. We breed schnauzers to grow families. We do not breed schnauzers for shelters. So that's the agreement, and you and I both would be signing these two agreements if you're getting a puppy from me. But again, no matter who you're buying a puppy from, please explore and please make sure you're getting a really solid well-designed puppy agreement so that you're not buying a puppy from a puppy mill. And if you're a new breeder, thank you so much for watching this video, because that tells me that you're the kind of breeder who wants to really do right by your puppies and by the people who are buying them from you. We love your questions, love your comments. Please comment below. Give this video a thumbs up if you got value out of it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. There is another video that explains to you what to do if you realize you are likely to outlive your puppy. It'll show up in one of these spots here in just a few seconds. Thanks again for watching. To be continued.